What's going on, everyone? Again, back to your normal schedule of Outside the Lines. Jamie Bell and I will be recording probably every couple weeks now. I've got another series that we'll be introducing to the series of Outside the Lines. We'll have with Jamie Bell, we'll be going over more of like the stocks and diversification stuff like that, and then more of a brainstorming with startup ideas and other business ideas with another buddy of mine, Tucker DeCamp, that you've met before, as well as just typical other interviews. I have an interview coming up with a startup that's doing awesome things in the space of the food and nutrition era. So that'll be fun with that one. But again, we appreciate all the love on the podcast. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, subscribing, getting at me on Twitter. All the love has been awesome. So keep sharing, keep sending us questions. Let us know if you have any other questions. Leave them in the comments or message me on Instagram, Twitter, any social platforms. Cool with me. So today we talk about the crypto market crash. We have a ton of stock picks for that will benefit when the US opens up fully again. So we pick a bunch of those. And we also go over some diversification when it comes to markets. So jumping into the Chinese/Japanese markets, we have a few that are going to be great for those picks too. So again, guys, if you enjoy this episode, like, comment, subscribe, let us know how we're doing, good or bad. We love all the comments. We're always looking to improve here. So let us know how we're doing, and we'll catch you guys on the next one, guys. Happy investing. See ya. All right, Outside the Lines, we're back.
Man,
it's been a minute. Jamie Bell, haven't talked to you in a long time here. You've been all over the world of finance per se, and
I know, man.
There's been some absurd things happening within the world, as much as crypto.
Jeez.
But yeah, so I'm sure we'll touch on crypto here. I know you had a couple other items. If you want to lay those out before we get going here, what do you have for us today?
Man, it's been a while. How long has it been here? I think it's been about a month, a little over a month.
I think so.
Probably.
I've had a couple other guests on, and then you've been MIA for a month here.
I know. Let's see. So we are on. This is our 7th episode. So if people have been following along, I won't try to repeat myself too much, but I am a pretty simple person. Let's just, from our last episode, what has the market done since the middle of April? Well, the NASDAQ and a lot of these story stocks kind of got dinged along with crypto. And I'm going to talk about crypto later, but let's just talk about the equity markets.
Let's hold off on the rant until later in the emepisode here. But
no,
like you said, equities.
Let's like what is the
deserved a rant.
What have you been seeing? So I actually want to preface the equity market talk with what I consider to be one huge turning event. And let's just talk about what I've done personally in my portfolio, Emmett. Something that you probably know of is this blow up at Archegos Capital in New York, the family office. That happened right around when we were recording our 6th episode.
It was probably a couple days after.
Exactly. And so what happened with that? And you kind of know what happened with that, right? Just a guy, a family office in New York, Bill Huang, had some concentrated bets in Viacom, CBS, Discovery Communications, GSX, Tekadu, a Chinese online learning company, Tencent, which is a stock that I own. And that's why Tencent has kind of gotten obliterated here a little bit, which is okay. It's kind of finding its feet again. But he was a large shareholder in Tencent, which probably is the reason why the stock went from 50 to 100 last year in a straight line, which I was complaining about because I've owned Tencent for a while. But it did pull back because Bill Huang blew up, dude. And what's significant about this, Emmett, is Credit Suisse booked a $5.5 billion loss because they were the prime broker for Bill Huang. Nomura was also a prime broker for Bill Huang. They booked about a $3 billion loss. Two other notable prime brokers for Bill Huang were Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. Goldman Sachs skated away, not losing a dime, because they sold on Friday.
As they do.
Sold on Friday, yes, first. Goldman Sachs was the first firm to sell. Morgan Stanley priced blocks after Goldman later that day. But Goldman came out Friday morning, and they were the first to go. Credit Suisse and Nomura didn't get to sell until the next Tuesday. So if anyone's wondering what the hell I'm talking about, pull up charts of Viacom CBS, VIAC, and Discovery Communications. That's DISCA, and just look at the 6-month charts, and that'll kind of paint the story for you. Bill Huang was early in these investments, but the issue is he kept doubling fucking down. And he was doubling down on Viacom when it was at 60, 70, 80. And the thing ended up at 30, surprised a lot of people in the family office and hedge fund space. I've heard some people say that they're very surprised. Bill Huang was very successful. He, throughout his career, he's shown a pretty good disciplined approach to managing risk. There are some things here. That's why the government is kind of thinking about investigating into this. The fact that Goldman was the first out the door, a pretty skinny door, right? Isn't surprising. Goldman never loses money. That's the saying on Wall Street.
They're
Goldman
very
doesn't.
good.
Goldman does not lose money. They'll be the first. They'll be the first in, and they'll be the first out for sure. But why this was significant to me, Emmett, and I'll kind of cut to the chase here. When I was here with you on my first episode, do you remember my allocation? I mean, if you don't, it's fine.
No, what's for?
I was 82% equity, about 18% cash.
Yes. Okay.
Right.
Yes.
I have post Archegos, and literally it was like the following week I kind of absorbed everything, and it was when Credit Suisse, they're estimating how much they're going to lose. And the thing with Goldman exiting, and man, with Nomura booking a loss, and some other Japanese investment banks were booking losses. I started hearing murmurs that prime brokers were reaching out to hedge funds, family offices, and big time asset managers and saying, "Hey, I'm sure you heard Archegos blew up. The risk has to come off now. The risk is going to come off, guys. And if you're not going to sell, we're going to do it for you." So I cut my allocation. This is crazy, from about 82% equity down to about 67. So this is 15% just off. And a lot of that, I was blowing out positions of low conviction names, selling anything, selling at losses, everything. Clean energy names I owned, took some losses there. Took some gains in small cap software. Took some gains in small cap cannabis. But I was also a net buyer during like the last month of MGM and Caesars. So I'm essentially saying I'm out of the small cap speculation, the small positions, and I'm gonna buy back into some MGM, Caesars, and even Callaway. I was even able to nibble here in the low 30s again.
So more so just consolidating your, like you said,
Man,
the conviction picks that you already have. You're kind of getting out while you can.
Exactly. And overall, I'm just taking it down. I went from owning about 60 different stocks, which is still way too much. Now I own about like 38, 39. So I like positions were sold completely for me. And kind of, the market was retreating, and here we are. It's like back to essentially where, again, like the market just continues to get stick saved. Like it's crazy, right? It's like 3 weeks ago, I was like, dude, the shit's on the ropes, right? I mean, it's pretty scary. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, hey, NASDAQ, that was a 8-9% drawdown there. And then stick save out of nowhere. Like the thing kind of rebounds 5-6%. Still down. Yeah, still down from its all-time high. But I mean, geez, we're pretty much right there. There hasn't been that much pain technically. So that's what's really surprising me. It's just the stick save after stick save after stick save this market gets. But yeah, that's just kind of what I've been doing. I think Archegos was a big deal though. And I think what happened with Archegos spilled over into cryptocurrency too, man. Because look, prime brokers are looking at positions, and they have to have a holistic approach to how a hedge fund is positioned. And even though, Credit Suisse can't custody Bitcoin, they don't do it. But Credit Suisse knows their client. And if they know that their client custodies Bitcoin, they say, hey, you can't have this much exposure with us right now. We just took a $5 billion loss. You need to sell some of that Bitcoin, my man. And, the institution goes, hey, at 55,000 might not be a bad time to reduce our Bitcoin exposure. Right. And a lot of them did. There was a lot of sellers of Bitcoin above 50,000. And I hate to, you know, parade around and say that I was right, but fuck, like a few episodes ago, I was very critical of people out there that were buying Bitcoin hand over fist when it was at like 60,000 and the thing topped out at
Exactly.
68. Look, I'll cut to the chase on this. If you're an investor in Bitcoin and Ethereum, I think you're going to be fine. I think those are really great networks that have a lot of value. My issue with cryptocurrency is the fucking thousands of altcoins that are being pushed by people like Soulja Boy, Lindsay Lohan, Mia Khalifa, Lana Rhodes. I mean, look, the shit's, I mean, and look, these things are down 60, 70% from their highs. Everyone's fucking lost their absolute ass in these for the most part. Sure, there's people that have made money in the altcoins, but I mean, it's an overwhelming majority of people that have gone wiped out in these. And like, I mean, it is what it is. Um, I I personally, for the little Bitcoin that I own, Emmett, I completely sold out of it in the mid 40s. When it crossed below 50, I said, I'm out of this motherfucker. And I am
jump ship.
absolutely not even remotely close to wanting to be involved at all here. Even though I think Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be fine, I just do not want to, as long as things like Tits Coin and MILF Coin are still around, I'm not going to
Yeah,
even be
like
involved in
come
Bitcoin.
come
I
shot.
can't.
Like you're not. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna be
those
involved
have to go to
with
zero. Personally, for me, those need to go to zero before I'm involved again, just because it's gotten out of hand. And
Well, look, it's Web 2.0. If you look at it, it's the same similar
exactly
situation. Like a lot, if you look back at those dying companies, early web, like
1999,
90% of them,
exactly,
yeah, like
exactly,
1999, 2000, like 90% of those companies are no longer here. So, like you
exactly.
said, these altcoins need to die before. I mean, I guess the rest of the world can take the Bitcoin and rest of the crypto
Exactly.
market
And there's
seriously.
a lot of, more mature cryptocurrency investors that are saying the same exact thing that I am. I mean, they're sick and tired of it. If you're a serious believer in Ethereum, which Ethereum is a very much a real network, and has a store of value. I mean, I would absolutely hate to see shit like what's going on, man. It's just like, I mean, come on, right? It's just
It's the Wild West, man. Like the people
it's gotten
see
way
a
too
market.
frothy out there. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like it. Bitcoin
What's the
today,
saying
man.
out there? Is it's don't mistake genius for a bull market.
Yes, God.
There's
Yep.
like there's like you said, there's people out here just in for a quick coin. I don't know if you saw that recently with that crypto scam
Yeah, there is
when
an altcoin that was a complete scam, and the domain just popped up and said it was a
you
scam.
scammed. Like that's
Yeah,
it. And
and
they
look,
took hundreds of millions of dollars and
yep,
just literally said that you've been scammed. There's nothing you can do about it.
yeah, yep. I mean, these altcoins are essentially a way just for the private sector to raise money, in any means. And I'll I'll say this one thing about cryptocurrency. The one thing I do find value in these altcoins, and this was introduced to me by a friend that will probably listen to this podcast, is DeFi, decentralized finance. I think DeFi is
Yeah.
very much a real thing. I like DeFi, and the only reason I like DeFi, the kind of the P2P lending solutions through tokenized networks, I think it's really interesting. I think I still I still need to see a big shakeout in these other shitty coins that don't have anything to do with that before I get involved. Just because, yeah, just risk reward doesn't make any sense right now, given the setup that we're going through. And I'll talk about the setup in a little bit, but I'll get to my point here. P2P lending, I do think is interesting. The only reason is because the big banks in America that have been bailed out 3 times in the last 21 years, right? Every 6 to 7 years, the banks get bailed out, right? In
Yep.
2001, they got bailed out. In 09, they got bailed out. And last year, they got bailed out. 2020, they got bailed out. So 3 times in the last 21 years, these guys are flush with cash, but they won't lend to us. They refuse to lend to us. And I think that's fucking bullshit. It's been one of my biggest complaints about the banking system in America that, businesses have to go through like the SBA and shit. It's just like, dude, we have fucking how many banks here? Like, why don't they just
What are
do
we
it?
doing?
These guys have gotten bailed out 3 times in the last 21 years. And the only time they want to lend to us is via a credit card at a 17% interest rate. Like, that's literally the only time they want to lend to us. So, yeah, DeFi, I do like DeFi for that reason. And do I know that much about DeFi? No, I don't at all. But I like it. I like the P2P lending aspect only because it is kind of a fuck you to the fact that the banks won't lend us anything unless it's a credit card at 17%. So
Exactly.
if there's anyone out there that's in the DeFi, obviously my friend and I will talk about it more, but anyone else out there that can recommend us to look at any sort of tokens that are very much real, and have intrinsic value and a lot of network, actual network value, then I'd be very happy to take a suggestion and take a look at it.
I think that's the
Because
hardest
I
part,
think
man,
it
is shaking
interesting.
out these companies and projects, quote unquote. That's what they're calling all these things. Is you have to kind of
Exactly.
scour the web and find different projects that you think can last and that have stores of value over time.
Exactly.
It's
It's going to be tough. And if you ever see anything, let me know. I'm very open minded. I just think most of what's going on in altcoins right now, I would like to see more of a shakeout, or at least just something to change, man. I mean,
so
it's getting rough.
what do you think the timeline is for Big Brother to step in
Oh my
and
God.
say,
Yeah, there's
hey,
that's the talk. I mean,
this needs to stop?
probably what was the thing that like there was two straws that broke Bitcoin's back. It was Elon Musk coming out and saying, "Hey, we're not accepting it anymore." And 2 months ago, he was all jolly to fucking accept it, and then it's
Yep.
just like you're the CEO of like the sixth or seventh largest company in America, and you can't even fucking figure out whether or not you want to accept. I mean, that's just, in my opinion, that was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen. I mean, dude, if that was a normal person's job, like they would be fired for that. Just like
Instantly.
so, like that, you're right. It's just like, and it's not all Elon's fault. There's obviously a lot of people behind the scenes at Tesla that are making these decisions, but it's just like they didn't realize how much kind of this issue with Bitcoin mining. And then the second string was China coming out and essentially wanting to fucking ban it. 65% of the Bitcoin mined in the world is mined in China, right? So if you're a cryptocurrency bull, you better be a China bull as well, because that's where it's fucking getting created.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that, and so China, they're coming in hot, and you can't you can't underestimate the power that their government has. And then
Well,
the
I think, look,
Feds.
if you look back,
Yeah.
I said it right away. It was like, I think it was like episode 4, the first episode I had you on. I clearly said that it's too powerful of a product, quote unquote. If once these projects figure themselves out, like cryptocurrency, DeFi, like it's all too powerful for the governments around the world to let happen. Like and then
Yeah,
you're
they're
seeing
gonna
it
get super
firsthand
pissed
with
off.
China just being like, nope, this is not happening. We're not letting it. This is not going on here.
Exactly. Yeah,
Like,
because there's just it's too much capital being flowed into non-productivity. That's kind of my one thing I don't like about Bitcoin is like it doesn't employ anybody. Like, like it's like, a business can at least use their working capital to get, being a publicly traded stock and like actually do things like pivot. And so I do agree with the government. If I was the government official, I'd be like, what the fuck are we allowing this? Like, this
yeah.
isn't helping us. We're not getting much tax revenue from it. It's burning a shitload of energy. It's not creating any jobs besides, the 2 to 3 man operations that are Bitcoin miners. I mean, these things aren't big. Like, what the hell is this doing around? Like, and if anything, it's just making our own currency a joke. This is just from the government official's perspective. I'm very surprised they haven't done more. But there's starting to be more things. If you want to make a crypto transaction above a notional value of $10,000, it has to be flagged, and which is good because, dude, like cryptocurrency is just a hotbed for the cartel. Like, this is the easiest way to launder money.
Yeah, and that's been a
Literally create a
huge, it's
token
like a
and yeah,
historical
just
thing
wash.
that's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, the cartel is like a huge user of cryptocurrency. It's fucking well documented. They know what they're doing with it. It's just
Yeah,
it's very easy to wash
it's
money
just
through it. So
it's cartel money, and
all
then
this
this
ransoms too,
through
these
the
cyber
dark
attack
web.
ransoms, yeah, getting paid in cryptocurrency, man. So there's a lot of issues. I need to see more. And why I don't like the setup for crypto or like non-productive assets like fucking you know, a lot of these overvalued fucking tech names going into this summer, and even like the stock market in general going into the summer is like, dude, we're going into the summer. We're going to be going out having fun again, like seeing people in person, going on vacation. Like, life's going to be normal. Like, do you really think fucking all these altcoins are around in like a normal life where you're actually going to the bar and like drinking beers again? Like, I don't, like, it's just like,
Well, that's the thing that we
We're not.
we talked about off cam. Like it was off the recording. I mean, I bought into Dogecoin. I put $1,000 in just to just say, hey, we'll see what happens. Like for strictly for content. Like, and then I'm up still, but when does the ride end? That's when people start to realize, what am I doing with this Dogecoin? Like, what can I get with this? Can I buy a drink at the bar? Like, can I go to Topgolf with this? No. What the hell do I have this for?
Exactly. There is no use of it. And just, I mean, if people start to realize that, life is actually about going outside and like doing things. It's just like, man, I have even the stock market, the heaviest, the highest weightings in the S&P 500, people getting off their fucking couch for the first time in a while and going out and doing things again, man. Yeah, life's getting back to normal. Inflation's going to come around and good luck. Right. That's kind of my thing. If you're not positioned in the companies that are directly benefiting from people getting back to normal, I think there's going to be pain here. And I think I literally said that word for word from the first episode. I think there's going to be a lot of pain if you're not positioned. Yeah, if you're not positioned correctly going into the summer. And if you were buying, these shitty fucking SPACs over the last 3 months, like, yeah, you've gotten killed. And meanwhile, there's stocks that are making all-time highs every day that are, directly correlated to people actually getting out of their house this summer. So yeah, I think for the market, man, I don't like the NASDAQ going into the summer. If anything, I'm probably going to talk myself into putting on a hedge at some point on Monday. Just I look at where I'm positioned and I absolutely love my positioning. And I think there's probably money to that. I think the NASDAQ has a little bit more, probably 1 to 2% to the upside, and it's going to test some pretty tough resistance, around 14K. And just because with the Archegos thing, man, it's going to be the first time that I'm actually going to start shorting an indice and probably looking to hedge myself out. It's something that I did, started doing in 2019, and it ended up working out for me. So yeah, probably something I'm going to probably start doing again, man.
Where more your
just to be tactical. I mean, the whole Archegos thing really changed everything for me. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, that was risk that I had not even seen. And I think it's a big deal, man. I think there's just a lot of de-risking and de-leveraging going around in the asset managers and the institutions. Even as we speak, as the market kind of gets stick saved, and you see it. I mean, God, the market will puke 2-3%. And I mean, there are just people slamming, the ask, just selling. I this just looks kind of early for me of just kind of a nice distribution. I don't really know, but that doesn't mean I don't want to sell a share of MGM. I don't want to sell a share of American Express. I don't want to sell a share of UPS. I actually think they're going to be just fine. Maybe they'll pull back, but the stories are still intact there. The best days are ahead for American Express. The best days are ahead for MGM. Man, I don't know if the best days are ahead for fucking some of these other companies, man, if I'm being honest. So some of these companies
talked about, like, what other innovation is there when you talk about tech stocks? So you're basically talking about just you're betting on growth happening year after year after year. But like when you talk about UPS and American Express, is you're seeing steady numbers and steady growth happening all the time. You're not betting on it to just 100x next year.
Yeah, there was a crazy note that a strategist from Merrill Lynch released late last year that got me essentially fully on board. I was like 75% there. But an individual, she said, in 2021, I'm talking late 2020. She said in 2021, value's the new growth because the comps are going to be so easy to beat. And for the first time ever, companies like American Express are going to be able to post 30% plus revenue growth. That looks like Adobe. Like, you know what I mean? And like, when's the last time you saw Amex post 30% revenue growth? It's going to look really nice. The comps are going to be really easy to beat. That's what I'm looking for. The comps are going to be really easy for MGM and Caesars to beat. Fucking no one was on the fucking strip last year. It's going to be it's going to be a really easy story to tell for that management team, how the best story is ahead for them, because the best days are ahead for those companies. So that would be what I would, if I'm investing today, that's what you need to be looking at. Invest in companies where the best days are ahead, not behind.
Yeah,
Man.
Fin Twitter is gonna, it's just gonna reek of just value investors coming out of the woods, coming out of nowhere, like they weren't just in growth stocks for the past 5 years.
Exactly. Right. And I
That's all
think,
it's gonna be.
owning growth is great. Like, I mean, everyone knows I own companies in the gaming industry, in the cannabis industry, and especially in the cannabis industry, those are some pretty lofty valuations. The valuations are pretty damn lofty,
A bit excessive,
but
some might say.
exactly. But you're making a bet, and at the end of the day, those are productive businesses that are selling real products to real people. So I'm okay with it for now. And the comps are going to be easy for them too, honestly. I mean, I
Like you
think
said, it's an easy story for management to tell.
exactly. But yeah, I'm getting a little I'm getting very skeptical here. I think the market kind of rallying here is probably an opportunity to probably de-risk more, to be completely honest. I'm not very positive on the market whatsoever. Um,
Uh,
I'm glad we recorded today because the market's been up for like the last few days. Because I was saying the same, I was thinking the same thing a few days ago. That doesn't look too smart now, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm all right here, but I'm still gonna own what I own. Continue to probably consolidate, but um, yeah. But then there's a few other names I do want to touch on too, just as actionable ideas. Was there anything else that you want to talk about?
No, I see here that you've had. I mean, we always talk about, and we bring up China quite a bit, but
Mm-hmm.
there was a. I know we touched on Tencent a little bit, but one thing that kind of stuck out to me was that their venture arm that you'd mentioned. You want to kind of go into a little bit with that and explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, Tencent was just a very early investor in a lot of gaming companies. They have a huge stake in Activision Blizzard, Take-Two Interactive, and then obviously Tencent themselves owns Riot Games.
Yeah.
Man, it's a really easy story to tell from a venture perspective. And these are very much long-term holds for them. Um, and they are obviously a social media company based in China that trades at a much more attractive valuation than Facebook. Their gaming arm trades at a much more attractive valuation than American gaming publishers, and they're also a fintech company. I mean, this essentially is like a media tech conglomerate, a la Berkshire Hathaway in China. A lot of value here.
Yeah.
Um, in my opinion. I mean, they have a lot of different forms of business, advertising. It's pretty much advertising, gaming, and then venture. Venture had a better 2020 than right now. It's not doing too good right now because a lot of, it's kind of dried up a little bit, and a lot of things that they own probably haven't done too well, but they're a big beneficiary from the run up in equities. And I think that hasn't really even been reflected in the stock price. Like, Tencent's a big shareholder in Tesla. Tesla's up fucking huge, and they're very early. They were like early Tencent. Like, I'm not talking like 2 years ago. Like, they were early, and like things like that really can shore up their balance sheet. And I don't think that's reflected yet. I mean, this is the largest company in China besides Alibaba. I also like Alibaba here. I was buying Alibaba at 209 for the first time ever. I've never owned Alibaba in my life. I initiated a new position at 209 though.
That's one of
I
the
mean,
ones you
just
cut
way
ties
too
with
cheap.
recently.
No, I bought.
Oh,
For the
okay.
first time ever. For the
Yeah.
first time ever, I bought Alibaba. Um,
What
I
took you
like
so long?
Tencent a lot. Good question. I've bought it for my family, but never for me. Um, I think this level makes sense. I think the valuation makes a fucking ton of sense. I like the fact that Charlie Munger is doing some buying for himself personally and a
Mm-hmm.
company he sits on the board of. Um, Charlie Munger is extremely positive on China. I've been doing a lot of research into what he's been saying.
If you listen to a lot of even his older speeches, he's very bullish on China.
Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of trail him here. I'm gonna kind of trust his intuition here. I absolutely love the way that he invests, and he's taking a big position here. You know, he doesn't nibble at shit. He owns like Charlie Munger and his family own like so much Costco stock. Like Charlie Munger, the only stock he owned was Costco, like personally for himself. Like that's it. He just but then there's Berkshire Hathaway where he manages, all that. But like for him personally and his family, he owns like a fucking shitload of it. And he hasn't sold like a piece. Exactly. And there was always so much FUD around Costco, like, oh, the company's dead, Amazon. It's just like, oh my god, like, nope. Like the company, Costco continues to fucking succeed, man.
Keep on climbing
and
the
what
ladder.
I love about Costco is they actually pay their workers and take care of people. So I own Costco. Costco was the first stock I ever bought. And I remember in the first episode I said I owned Target, but I own Costco. It's the first stock I ever bought.
It's a hard company to bet against too.
Yeah, it's so it goes so much more, so much beyond like the company itself. But I really do appreciate how they actually pay their employees a good wage and take care of people. And I think their CEO and their management team is they're about business, man. That CEO for Costco goes on CNBC like once every 3 years, man. Like he literally doesn't care. For him, it's about delivering value, right? For the whole company. And he's not a promoter. It's Costco, man. And they haven't
no
changed
media obligations. They don't have a fanboy out there like Tesla, and Elon Musk is on CNBC every day. This guy's in the war room getting it done.
Yep, exactly. I like the business. I like Costco. When I was gonna say my senior year, you have like that senior year in high school. So in senior year high school, econ class, right? And you probably you probably did this too. You guys had like a stock competition, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I chose Costco 2012, or is it 2013? I asked my dad, I said, "Hey dad, we're having a stock competition." I didn't win it, by the way. Costco like didn't do anything in 2012, 2013, because there was so much FUD around the business and fear, uncertainty, and doubt around the business in 2012, 2013. Like, oh, is this company going to make it? It wasn't until recently, like over the last 4 or 5 years, the markets actually started to appreciate how great this business is. But yeah, and so when I actually had money, like in college, that was the first stock I bought because I'm like, I liked it in 2013 when I was a senior in high school. I gotta like it now. And that was just the easiest stock I could buy, man. And I haven't sold a share of it. It's a great business.
Awesome. You picked it a long time ago, and you're still riding with it.
Yeah, man. It's a why would I, man? I mean, it's such a great experience. And there's just so much ahead for the business, in my opinion.
Dude, it's got a lot, like you said, it's got a lot.
What
of
else
room
about
still.
China, man? What's worked for me in China is Yum China, which is my best idea on the document. And if anyone there is wondering what the document is, it was a document that I put together at the end of January, literally last business day of January, and I outlined probably 15 ideas, 15 stocks that I still own right now.
Yeah, there's a ton of companies on here.
Yeah, Yum China is the best idea for me, and I would buy it again today at 67. I mean, holy shit, this is just I put a lot of work into that, and just this is just a stock that just keeps going up. I mean, for instance, I don't know if you know what Yum China does at all. Maybe you know what Yum Brands is here in America.
Looking more into it now. Like it's like you said,
it's a quick service restaurant operator. Yeah, so Yum China owns and operates the Pizza Hut and KFC, Taco Bell brands in China only. There is an American equivalent to this company. The ticker is just Yum. And the story here is that Yum actually spun off Yum China in 2015. Like they just spun it off as its own entity and to a hedge fund. So a hedge fund owns about 40% of Yum China in China. It's an institution in China. And 3% of Yum China's sales pay Yum Brands essentially as a royalty. So that's kind of the deal. But Yum Brands doesn't own any of the stock anymore. But Yum China continues to hold the license to own and operate KFC, Pizza Hut, Taco Bell in China. This is just a valuation that just doesn't, this is just a valuation thing. This is just old school, fundamental, just, I don't understand what's going on here. This should be a $100 stock today. It doesn't make any sense. This company literally like operates so much better than Chipotle, so much better than McDonald's, like any other quick service restaurant operator I've ever seen in my life. They just do it so much better. Like, and not only that, they're the only restaurant in the world that's actually vertically integrated, legitimately vertically integrated. Like Yum China has been doing this since the 80s, and when they were doing it there was like no food distribution in China, so they literally had to figure it out them fucking selves. How do we like actually make the food and own the logistics and own the trucking? They literally own everything. Like this is a vertically integrated food company, and it's the purest play on the Chinese middle class I see right now. Like literally there is no pure play on the Chinese middle class than this stock right here. It's not a tech stock. That's why I like it. This is a company that serves food. I think it needs a Chipotle multiple. Chipotle's been a big winner, rightfully so. That's a really good business. That's America's lunch, right? They've done a fantastic job. I'm looking for Yum China to re-rate like that. This is a stock that continues to go up, but I think it could have really, really aggressive moves higher. The company's getting really good. I absolutely love the management. Joey Watt is the is a women CEO, and she's the CEO of the largest, company in China ran by a woman, right? So I think that just says a lot about kind of who she is. She's a killer, man,
I was
and
gonna
she's
say
creating a lot of
she's
value.
coming for.
She's a killer.
Like you said, they're just, you have to be.
Yeah. So, and Yum China has a lot of potential with coffee, and I'm looking for a Starbucks. It's like I think this deserves like a Starbucks Chipotle multiple. I don't get it.
Gotcha. So
That's
what's something that you're seeing in China, like you said, like where do you go to do most of your China research at? Because like a lot of people can't even follow what's happening here within the market. Like where are you finding information on
unfortunately
China,
it's
Japan?
not. Oh yeah, unfortunately it's not anything that's free. I get it through work. It sucks. I don't want to say the firm that we get the research from, but it's a very reputable. And then I think Mark Yusko at Morgan Creek does a good job too. He's a very you either love him or hate him. He's a big time crypto bull too, and he's probably the biggest China bull I've ever seen in my life. I sent you that video that he made. But yeah, I've been really riding with him. He's all in. And I mean, there's a lot of points that he makes. Look at so let's take away like the China, like they've done some bad
Humanitarian
shit in the past.
aspect. Yeah,
Right. Yeah.
we'll overlook
I mean,
that.
their leadership, like if you look at the average age of like the people that actually lead that country, they're very young, especially relative to America. Like we're all run by 70, 80 something year olds that have fucking absolutely no clue really what's going on. Like
can't even walk up a flight of
dude,
stairs.
no, like seriously, it's fucking embarrassing. And we're literally stepping up to the plate against China, who they strive to have the most talented individuals in their government, and they're young and they're savvy and they're forward thinking. And they've created very good lives for people out there. They put people to work. It is what it is. It's a very, very compelling investment opportunity. Hop into a Nike earnings call, a Louis Vuitton earnings call, a Kering earnings call, which owns Gucci. and you'll find out why you should be bullish on China. They're the largest buyer of luxury goods. People have money there. Things are doing well there.
Well,
it's the strongest
age is
consumer in the world. Yeah, and then the average age of people there is much younger than the U.S. They're much more productive than people in the U.S. The education that they get is tailored to actually being able to do things in the real world, code, make chips. There's just a lot of talent coming out of China right now. Do I like it as an American? Look, I'm a proud American, but I can't sit here and say that, what they're doing out there is really compelling from an investment standpoint, which is why I like Yum China so much, just because that consumer out there is just relentless, right? And this is just right there with them. So any sort of consumer play, and like you could be an investor in Nike, and like you're gonna be tied to China. China's a very big deal for Nike.
If you're in Nike, you're at the mercy of China.
Literally. Look, if you're an investor in Starbucks, China's very, very important to Starbucks. A lot of American companies put a lot of weight into the Chinese consumer, man. And what I try to look for is pure plays out there, actual Chinese companies. You got to be careful though, because there's a lot of frauds out there. Holy shit, you got to be careful. I can just do one like pointer for Chinese stocks, and God, I hate to be this like but I want people to do the work. Emmett, do you remember Luck and Coffee?
No.
Luck and Coffee was a stock that was a complete fraud. It was called out by Carson Block at Muddy Waters in early 2020. This was supposed to be the Chinese Starbucks, and it was getting pumped by CNBC. Everyone look it up, Google it, Luck and Coffee after this or right now. It was the poster child. Everyone on CNBC was buying it. It was this crazy growth story. It was literally the next Starbucks in China. It turned out that they were actually paying people to just stand in line. And they were actually using shell companies overseas to like buy coupons or do fake orders. Because you know how easy that is to just book fake orders through like a shell company to like a restaurant. So that's what they were doing.
Sorry, this is the tagline on here is Luck and Coffee is the pioneer of technology-driven retail model to provide coffee and other products that's high quality and highly affordable to the consumer.
Yeah, so it's a great story, but it was a complete fraud. That was the issue. They were using shell companies overseas to book orders through their apps. So it was like that's how they were posting sales numbers. What I'm trying to get at is Luck and Coffee was listed on the NASDAQ, but it wasn't listed in Hong Kong. So that's your tell. If a Chinese stock is listed here in America and not listed locally, don't buy it. Alibaba is listed on the NYSE and in Hong Kong. Yum China has a dual listing. My other stock there, ZTO Express, dual listing. I always look for dual listings. This is why. It's easier to list on the NASDAQ than it is on the Hong Kong exchange. That's like the Western media will be like, oh, the American markets are great. We have fucking stocks like Nikola trading on our fucking markets. Get the fuck out of here. Like after the 1999 and the .com, like, do you really think that our markets are like are fucking squeaky clean here? Hong Kong is harder to list on. It is so hard to list in Hong Kong. Remember, Hong Kong is like it's owned by China, but it isn't a part of China.
Yeah.
Right. That's like it's the second, and there's New York and Hong Kong, like second most important city in the world. Right. New York first, Hong Kong second. This is a very sophisticated financial center in Hong Kong. And it's very hard to list there.
That could soon be switching too. You said, the order of that can soon be shifting very quickly here with, like you said, with the rise of China. Hong Kong is going to start being it already is the economic center of the East, but it might be the economic center of the world.
Exactly. So I love Chinese stocks that are dual listed. It's not that hard to find out, but there's like some stocks that are listed here in the NASDAQ that are Chinese that are I wouldn't touch them because there's a lot of fraud that comes out of China, man. I'll be the first to admit they're not perfect. China's a great investment opportunity, but they're not perfect, dude. There's a lot of fucking fraud that comes out of there. So you got to be careful, but there's legitimate business that goes on out there. Obviously, you just got to be kind of careful. And a Japanese stock I'll leave everyone with Bridgestone, man. Bridgestone is my third largest position right now, Emmett.
I was going to say, you've been very happy with them over the few episodes we've been talking about. You're very bullish on them.
Bridgestone, it's the Bridgestone Tire Company.
Yeah.
And they're based in Japan, but they do most of their sales actually in America. But they're based in Japan. This stock is so cheap. My God. For everyone out there, the ticker is BRDCY. It's a 5-letter ticker because it trades OTC because it's in Japan, which I love. Get me some diversification currency-wise to the yen. That's never a bad thing. People are like, oh, it's not an American stock. Get yourself some currency diversification. It's like with Yum China. They do business in the Chinese yuan. Give me some currency diversification, right? It's not a bad thing, people. Don't be afraid of international stocks. There's a lot more going on right outside these borders than you think. Bridgestone, this is the easiest story, man. Everyone's going to be driving this summer. I mean, the numbers are coming out. The stock was up huge today because there was that report that there's going to be rapid growth this summer of the road trip. I mean, fucking makes sense. People want to get out, dude. When it comes to tires, Emmett, there's Bridgestone, Goodyear, Pirelli, and that's about it.
Yeah. Even Pirelli's not even like it's big in this market here.
Exactly. I don't see too many Silicon Valley startups that are trying to make tires right now.
Yeah.
Bridgestone, the tire market is really for Bridgestone's taking. It's them versus Goodyear versus Pirelli. I like this here. The stock trades at about 1x sales, 8x forward earnings. Fuck, yielding 2.3%. Give it to me, man. People, the car market's doing extremely well. People are going to need new tires. My note in the document, there's this big debate, electric vehicle, gas powered vehicle. Oh my God, Tesla, Ford, GM. Bridgestone wins all of them.
You still need
I'll
tires.
Take it. Well, yeah,
you need tires.
Whether it's getting powered by battery, water, fucking oil, doesn't matter. It's got there's no innovating tires, man. Fucking and Bridgestone does it very well. Give me Bridgestone here, man. This is one of my bigger positions. It's a Japanese company. Give it to me here. I love Bridgestone just because I want to be exposed to the auto industry, but I don't want to have to pick a winner. Ford, GM, Tesla. I mean, I could sit here with the crystal ball. Oh, Ford's gonna win the auto thing. It's just like I don't fucking know, man. It's a battleground out there. Give me Bridgestone. Give me the name no one's talking about here.
It's a big exposure when you talked about like you want to expose yourself to housing and all that stuff, but you don't want to go sink X amount of dollars into a down payment. Might not get rent for that. So you're just like, I'm just gonna get my exposure through Lowe's. People
exactly.
Building houses, Home Depot, something like that.
Exactly. There's certain ways that, people younger like us can get some exposure to really any sort of trend. Find a trend that you think makes sense and try to, be creative about it. Bridgestone, this wasn't an original idea. I was actually listening to CNBC and some guy from Ariel Investments, an asset manager in Chicago. I was just listening to his background noise and he was pitching Bridgestone last year. And I was like, and I hear so many pitches on CNBC, Fox Business, Bloomberg, Emmett all day. And most of them I'm like, fucking dog shit. Get the fuck. I'm like, fucking get the fuck. Like, literally, you should see him. I'm like, what a fucking fraud. Like, the Jesus Christ. And this guy was talking. I'm like, God damn, I like this. Like that. I like that. And so, like, it's shit. Like, if anyone out there listening can pitch us something like that, something that is cheap, but goddamn, there's growth ahead, because sometimes with cheap stocks, it can be tough. There's no growth ahead, right? But this one, goddamn, the best days are ahead of Bridgestone here. Let me give you one more idea for everyone, and something that's on the document and I haven't talked about is the Molson Coors beverage company, man. When we met right earlier this year, I talked to you about that. I was buying some Molson Coors. Fucking A, man. Molson Coors beverage company, everyone. This is an easy one. This isn't like Bridgestone. I'm telling it's crazy. Molson Coors, they make fucking Coors Light, Miller Light, fucking Coors Bank. It's fucking, they're a beer company, man. But they're doing a little bit more than that. But just on Coors Light, right, the drink of Southern California.
I think the biggest thing you said was like the big reason was we're gonna be opening back up. And what have we seen?
It's an easy one. Like, it's just like
you look at social media, you look at the news. People are going back to bars. People are going back to baseball games. Things are happening.
it's an easy one, man, and I really like it. So, man, I would take a look at that one. I love the idea. It's, we're getting back to the bar, getting back to the live event. And at the same token, look at what they're doing in hard seltzer, Molson Coors with Vizzy and Topo Chico, man. This stock needs a re-rating.
I mean,
I
killer
think
killer
it's,
marketing from Coors too, with the original Coors seltzer they were doing.
yeah, and people like it. Look, and it's super cheesy, but they're getting on shelves and it's selling. And I like the Vizzy and Topo Chico a little bit more than Coors Seltzer. I think
I
they could have
had
been
Topo
better
Chico myself last weekend.
How was it?
Yeah, phenomenal. I'm a huge
Dude,
fan of them.
Dude, they are doing so well with that. I absolutely love Molson Coors here. In fact, I think I would like to add to my position. I'm probably talking to myself to buying more next week. I like it that much. And my story on this, Emmett, was I started buying this in August of 2020, right? August of 2020, and the reason I went on a trip out to the desert with me and my buddies, and we were sitting around the pool, but then we went to a grocery store to get some booze. And for some reason, we didn't reach for the Trulies or the White Claws. We reached for the Vizzy because it was just a funny name. And I
Yeah.
didn't even know Vizzy was made by Molson Coors, right? And I looked at the back of the can when I was drinking. I loved the drink. And I'm like, Molson Coors. I said, oh, fuck, this is interesting. The stock was at $35. I actually have some orders of buying the stock at 32 and 33. This has been a big winner for me. And they're not paying a dividend right now. They had to suspend it because fucking bars were closed last year, right? That was why Molson Coors was at 35 because bars were closed. And Coors Light 30 racks were still doing well, but Molson Coors makes more money selling kegs to bars than Coors Light 30 racks. Same thing
Yeah.
with the hard seltzers too. They make money doing the hard seltzers, but they make more on the kegs. But Molson Coors is creating a lot of shareholder value I like to see when companies start to really look within themselves and start creating value. So Molson Coors has the distribution. They have the marketing budget. They just needed to create the product. Fuck, they've made like 3 to 4 really good ones. The best days are ahead for them. College is going to be back this fall. College football is going to be live. Fucking goddamn, man. Coors Lights are going to be flowing. Miller Lights are going to be flowing. I like.
Boys.
Yeah, we're light, dude. The pitchers are going to be flowing. Molson Coors. This name, Emmett, has getting a lot of social media steam. Dumb Money Live. I don't know if you've ever checked out their YouTube channel. Have you ever checked them out?
No, I'll have to check them out.
Dumb Money Live is a decent YouTube channel. They go through stock picks. Their largest bet right now is on Molson Coors, and they just started talking about this last month. They get 20K views a video, and he's started buying it at 52, 53. And he is like all in on the fact that Topo Chico is going to be a much bigger deal than we could ever even imagine. He's saying that this drink is going to gain steam and literally rock the country by next year.
It's very it was very centralized to a different market. Obviously,
Texas, right?
Yeah, the way how I'm always in Austin, so it's like a religion out there. They live and breathe Topo Chico.
Yep. It's a big Texas thing, and it's gonna, just essentially expand throughout the Midwest and kind of the South there, and it's gonna do really good in Texas and the South, and hopefully it starts doing better here on the West Coast. But in the meantime, the West Coast has Coors Light. That's what kind of keep.
Even that, the West Coast wants it. I think it'll make its way around here, and it'll get adopted pretty well. It kind of fits.
Yeah,
the vibe.
I know they have it. They haven't really stepped up on the distribution here yet for that.
No.
Because there's just so much goddamn demand in the South and in Texas right now. Yeah, the launch was insane down there. Yeah. So here's a beverage company that is really kind of not necessarily reinventing themselves, but finding ways to create shareholder value. God damn, I like a story like this. Plus the core business itself is just going to naturally get better from the recovery. Molson Coors is probably the cheapest stock too. I mean, look at the 10-year chart of this thing. This thing is ugly, right? This thing is fucking hideous. So here we go. Here's a discount. I mean, you could have bought this thing 5 years ago. You would be down money. Here's a pretty good opportunity. There's going to be a lot of resistance here. It's not going to be easy. Just because they're going to have to continue to prove themselves. Most of course to be able to trade at 65, 70, $75 because they've been there before and they fucked up. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of
innovation has to keep going.
They have to continue to post good numbers and just continue to deliver, because Molson Coors has not been a perfect company. They've done a lot of dumb shit in the past. And before COVID, they were not doing well because they just had their core business, which was Coors Light and Miller Lite, and that was losing market share. But then now there was a big management shakeup in 2019, and they're really just full speed ahead, be more forward thinking, start to create more value, man. So
yeah, like you said, it's odd to see those kind of bigger kind of giants take a step back and actually evaluate the market and be like, where can we find value here?
Yeah, Molson Coors is a $12 billion company today, which is a big company. But I could easily see a $25 billion valuation on this if they could start to create more value with hard seltzer. I mean, that puts the stock well north of $110. Well, I'm looking. The all-time high here was around $110 back in 2016. Watch out. I think I mean, it's a big call from 58 to 120, but I think they could deliver some value here, man. I mean, I like the story. They're gonna have to do a lot. I don't think it's gonna happen in a year, but I kind of want to be involved here. I like the story a lot.
Yeah, like you said, it's not an easy bet. None of these things are easy that we're talking about here. So, like we said, do your own research. But these are some things that you like, that you see on the horizon here.
Man, what about Callaway Golf? We'll leave on this. We gotta give our shout out to Callaway Golf, bro. Oh my god, I mean,
bring them back. Let's reel them in here. Callaway Golf.
This is just the easiest story, man, isn't it? Just $6.8 billion company here. It was about $4 or $5 billion company we were talking about in episode 1. I mean, owning the Top
We've
Golf
been
franchise.
harping on this one for forever now. Like you said, after the acquisition of even the clothing company, Travis Matthew, once with MGM,
this is an easy one here, man.
Screaming from the rooftops, Callaway Golf. People buy ELY, buy ELY.
Yep.
People are not listening, apparently. They're just
I hope you all have bought this stock, and I don't think it's done, man. Best days are ahead, man. There is like a notion that golf, like Top Golf, was going to be fine, but there was like a notion that maybe like the core golf business is going to take a step back, man. That's not really the case here, and goddamn, you see, like I was saying, look at the valuations that like Abercrombie and Fitch, Gap, American Eagle, like these are all publicly traded stocks. I mean, look at like Levi Strauss. These stocks are fucking mooning right now. And it's like, okay, Callaway Golf owns Travis Matthew. This thing still has more. I think Callaway has more room to run. This is a hybrid apparel, entertainment, hardware with the golf equipment. I mean, all of these things. I think the sum of the parts valuation here, I don't see why this company isn't worth more than $10 billion. I would wait for kind of a little pullback here. It's at $36.92. Let's call it $37. I mean, man, 35 is kind of a nice even round number. I'd be surprised if it gets back to 30, but you never know. Someone might bang this thing or sell it. I don't know why, but God, if it did get back to there, I'd be a buyer too.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's ideas like this. I mean, I've never heard one person on CNBC talk about Callaway Golf before. I just have it as background noise. No one wants to fucking talk about it.
It's not flashy. It's not a SaaS product. You're not making 100x on your money, so why talk about it?
Exactly.
It doesn't. It doesn't reach
reach
the headlines, man.
I think it could. I think you could have a return, not 100x, but you could have something like this with Top Golf, man.
Yeah, that's
Man, it's crazy. Like I've just been seeing so much Travis Matthew gear too. Like when I was in Vegas, like it was crazy. I was just like looking around, just like even the clothing brand is doing really well.
yeah,
Really
exactly.
interesting.
Like you said, they're popping up everywhere, man. And a lot of them are. There's a big. I don't know if they're HQ down here where I'm at, but there's a big
Uh-huh.
kind of uh corporate office down here in Huntington Beach.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting,
So,
man.
uh, like you said, this is one that has a ton of runway and can make you a ton of money in the future here.
Yep,
It's
I
just,
like it.
it makes sense, man.
Yeah, anything else? I think I'm done talking about and
We've,
revisiting all this stuff. I mean,
I think
yeah, it's
we've
kind of
covered
crazy, you know.
a good amount here.
I talk myself into stuff, so it's like, hey, I kind of came out in this episode like, hey, you know, I don't relate the market, but then you know, I talk about some of these names we're talking about, and I'm just like, you know, I'm not gonna sell these things, but it's just the broad market. I'm not too positive on, but it's just like I
Yeah,
look at what I
exactly.
own, I'm like, I'm not, you know, I'm not gonna get shaken out of these names, right?
Like you said,
But
there's pockets of the market that you're, like you said, you
exactly,
made the
this,
call on and you're heavy with it. You like
yeah.
where it's at, you like where it's going. This, you're not gonna let the big guys shake you out of them.
Yeah, I think this is definitely going to be kind of a stock pickers market
Yeah, exactly.
going
It's
forward, you know.
like you said, it's gonna be tough to make money out there. You have to make moves when you can, and really, like you said, this is a stock pickers market. You're gonna have to figure out the good plays.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
The bull run is coming to an end.
Yeah, you think so too?
I think so too.
Yeah,
It's
summer,
only a
man.
matter of time, but we can.
Yeah, summer, just getting back out, vacationing. It's just it's gonna be hard. I mean, geez, man. I mean, maybe the market keeps grinding higher, but it's just like, man, I don't know.
I
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for pullbacks, man. I'm personally not doing much here. I'm waiting for pullbacks.
Yeah, very much stagnant in this type of, like you said, if the market's uneasy, I'm not comfortable jumping in and making a heavy conviction call on anything at the moment. But like you said,
Oh
there's, you
yeah.
can pick up some things when they're on sale and kind of wait out where you see a good niche to get in at.
Yep. Yep. And if anyone out there has any questions, you know, reach out to Emmett on social media. Man, we'd like to provide as much content as we possibly can. And I also want to make the disclaimer that Emmett and I are, you know, this don't take this as financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes too.
Exactly.
Strictly.
No,
Do not take any action. You know, these are just our ideas and we're just shooting the shit, sharing it with you guys.
for entertainment purposes only. Like you said,
Exactly.
we're just a couple buddies on here recapping the market. That's it. We're not telling you to
Exactly.
buy anything. I'm not telling you to sell anything. Do your own research. But Jamie Bell, again, always a pleasure having you on here. Again, we talked about a lot. We talked about the insanity that was the crypto market. We went on a little crypto rant there.
Yep.
And then a few really good stock picks that we think people should take a look at and do their own research on before you go buy these things.
Definitely. It was good being back on the pod. I'm glad we took a little time. It was easier to recap some things and be on the lookout, everyone. You know, we'll try to record, you know, every other week. I'll probably want to do more frequent than every month, but every other week or every few weeks will be good. We don't need to do this every day, you know.
No, again, like you
But
said,
I would
we're both doing other things. We got content going out, but we're gonna do our best to get on here and put out some fun content for you guys in this the stale
exactly.
market that sometimes is the finance world. We'll try and make it fun for you guys and learn a little bit more too.
Yep. All right, my man.
All right,
You
Jamie
have a
Bell,
good one.
always a pleasure. Talk to you soon here, my
Yeah,
guy.
always a pleasure. Talk to you soon too, man. Take it easy.
See ya.
See ya.